BeerGate. It's roughly been going on, certainly in the right-wing press now, for probably at least the past 2 weeks ago. But this is no doubt being pushed by Number 10 and even the right-wing press to try and, well, give some cover for Boris Johnson. But as one, shall we say, famous propagandist once said, all you've got to do is accuse your enemy of what you are doing as well. I believe the quote goes something like that. So, of course, this entire campaign is designed to do one thing. Oh, you thought Keir Starmer was a man of integrity and honour? Well, turns out he's just exactly the same as Boris Johnson. When, to be honest, given what just happened last night, could not be further from the truth. Keir Starmer last night showed he really is a man of honour and integrity. And I will give him this. There is no one outside there tonight, whether they be for or against Keir Starmer, who cannot look at that press conference and say, I'll tell you what, I can't blame him for that. Because here's the thing. He comes out, and obviously we'll get into what happened in a bit, but he comes out and goes, if I get fined, I'll resign. Masterful move, because now if he doesn't get fined, he has an even higher moral high ground and standing than almost certainly Boris Johnson does. And if he does get fined, well, okay, I'll resign. Again, thus proving how much of a better moral character not only does he have compared to Boris Johnson, but the entire moral fibre of the entire Conservative Party, and will put even more pressure on Boris Johnson to resign. So, before we go diving more to talk about this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Boris Johnson, a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, and of course the YouTube subscriptions are down below, as well as the new YouTube thank you button as well. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help support the channel. So, there are lots of people tonight very much on, shall we say, the anti-Keir Starmer train, who are now chomping at the bit for Keir Starmer to resign, or at least get fined so that he resigns. And I'm like, you're going to open Labour up to another leadership contest. And if there is going to be another autumn election, if there is remember, this is the scenario that could happen. Let's play this out. Keir Starmer gets fined and resigns, putting more pressure on Boris Johnson. This results in a vote of no confidence. They reach the numbers of the letters, where then you move on to the vote. Boris somehow manages to survive that vote, making him safe for a year. Out of sheer desperation to try and save his own skin, he then starts to remove whips from more moderate Conservative MPs, and now he can fill those seats again with some more Boris loyalists who are ultimately going to be very, very much right-wing libertarians. There is going to be an autumn general election. It will take at least 3 months, maybe more, to decide who is going to stand for the Labour leader candidate position, who can stand, how it all sorts, getting all that process in place. If that happens, Labour at a 2020 autumn general election is put on a back foot. Like, Keir Starmer leaving at this moment in time would be the worst possible thing to happen, because we'd have to go for a full leadership contest. And bear in mind, guys, I know the people who are sort of the anti-Starmerites who were joined, obviously, to vote Corbyn in, and then as soon as Starmer came in, they left the party. Are you going to rejoin the Labour Party now in case there's a potential leadership contest to get your guy in? I very much doubt it, because I've become very, very incensed and angry at the political inability there is especially on the left and the far left, there is in this country. It sort of really, really shocks me sometimes, but there you go. And you cannot say what Starmer has done is bad, because compare this. When this happened to Starmer, the past 2 weeks this has been going on, instead of running and trying to avoid the question, he holds a press conference and answers some very tough questions from some reporters, but he answered them. He didn't hide. When he was leaving, I think one of them kept on shouting a question, and not only did he turn around to answer that question, he faced it full on. That is what a leader should do. Boris Johnson, meanwhile, if you cast your mind back to remember what happened when these started to come out, he went and hid in a fridge. That is the difference between Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer. And say what you will about Keir Starmer. Maybe you don't like his politics. Maybe you don't like his policies or whatever. You cannot say what Starmer did there in that press conference last night was not a class act. I challenge anyone to say that was not how we expect our not only our prime ministerial candidates, but the leader of the opposition, but MPs themselves to behave. Starmer set a standard. This is what we should expect from our politicians. Now, obviously, I laid out what could potentially happen. Labour could be very much on the back foot here. And, I hope he doesn't resign because, no, I hope he doesn't get fined, of course, because as we said there, that could lay out a very bad series of scenario consequences there, putting very much pressure on Boris Johnson to resign. Thus, him saying, well, I'm going to call an early election, basically to save my own skin. He puts in potentially more right-wing libertarian candidates. And again, you talk about a general election. And of course, if you've got Labour prior to this trying to go in to a general election campaign with a almost unknown potential candidate, that makes that general election very terrifying, that you could not predict how that would go for Labour. You just could not predict it. And, I want to congratulate again Keir Starmer on doing the absolute right thing and performing an absolute class act. I want to say that. Because Boris Johnson certainly wouldn't do that. Boris has already been fined. He's still there, and we are expecting more fines again in the future. So how this all plays out, we don't know. But I'll tell you what, Starmer showed this is how politicians and MPs should act. And I think there should be a lot of deep thought and thinking, especially this morning, from Conservative MPs to think how their leader is acting. Because I'll tell you now, if I was a Conservative MP, I'd have looked at that press conference and gone, my God, if only our leader had half the chutzpah, the cojones to do what Keir Starmer did. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there is a link to my Patreon page and a donation link called Buy Me Coffee. We can well buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.